A 65-year-old woman asked him to marry her. He laughed until 7 days later he discovered her secret. And then, he couldn't laugh anymore. In West Baltimore, as the evening sky faded into a dull sheet of rust and gray, Jamal Carter sat silently on the cracked concrete steps of a housing block that had seen better decades. A wrench still hung from his grease-stained hand. His overalls were damp from the morning drizzle, his mind numb. At 23, Jamal had lived through more loss than most men twice his age. His mother died when he was 10. His father vanished soon after. His little sister had been swallowed by the foster system, and he was just there, working at a rundown auto shop, getting paid in cash and half-stale snacks, living day to day in a city that forgot how to hope. Every evening was the same cold leftovers, job rejection emails, and silence. But not tonight. Tonight something strange happened. A letter. No knock, no footsteps, just a soft scrape under the door. An envelope. White. Thick paper. No return address. Inside was a single note written in perfect cursive. Jamal, I need to speak with you. Urgently. Franklin's Diner. 6:30 p.m. Vivian Whitmore. He didn't know anyone named Vivian. The handwriting looked like it belonged in an old will, not a fast-paced, text-filled world. He stared at it, then almost threw it away. But something about that letter, maybe it was curiosity, or maybe it was desperation. Either way, an hour later, Jamal found himself buttoning up his least wrinkled shirt and heading toward a diner that barely still existed. Franklin's Diner was the kind of place people forgot. Torn booths, yellow lighting, coffee that tasted burnt even when fresh. The jukebox only played jazz, scratchy looping jazz from an era no one remembered fondly. And there she was, Vivian Whitmore. She sat near the window sipping tea with fingers so steady it felt unnatural. Her silver hair was tied into a soft bun. Her ivory trench coat and silk scarf made her look like she'd stepped out of a black and white movie. Her eyes were sharp, her posture flawless. As Jamal hesitated, she looked up and smiled. You came, she said. Good. He sat down slowly. Who are you? How do you know my name? She didn't blink. Let's just say I know more than you think. You're gifted, underpaid, and trapped in a life you didn't choose. You're loyal and desperate. Jamal stared. Okay, so what do you want from me? Vivian leaned in just slightly. I want you to marry me. That was the moment Jamal Carter realized. Sometimes life doesn't explode with lightning. Sometimes it slips under your door on thick white paper and changes everything. Jamal didn't sleep the night after he agreed to the proposal. Even though Vivian Whitmore had said it clearly, a legal marriage, nothing romantic. 30 days. After that you walk away rich, free, and clear. Something about it felt wrong in his bones. It didn't feel like a deal. It felt like a trap with silk gloves. 3 days later, a black car pulled up in front of the crumbling apartment block where Jamal lived. The driver didn't speak, just handed over an envelope that read, Welcome to your new life. The ride was long, silent, trees grew thicker. The streets turned from cracked concrete to cobblestone, then to gravel, and then the gate. Whitmore Manor towered before him like a fortress carved from a dream someone had no business dreaming. Iron gates, red brick walls, ivy-like claws creeping over white stone pillars, windows that gleamed like they were hiding something inside, and behind them, stillness. This wasn't a home. It was a secret made of architecture. The wedding happened that evening. No guests, no music, no celebration, just Vivian in a deep emerald dress, Jamal in a perfectly tailored suit he never bought, a lawyer, 2 silent witnesses, a few papers, a single photo. They signed. She raised a glass. To freedom and to shadows. Jamal drank even though he didn't know what that meant. Whitmore Manor had more than 40 rooms, a grand library with books older than Baltimore itself, an indoor greenhouse filled with orchids that never moved in the wind, a wine cellar that went deeper than a basement should. But the most memorable room was the one he was told never to enter. The velvet room, Vivian had said. That room is off limits. Don't ask why. There were only 3 staff members. Yvonne the chef, who never smiled and never made eye contact. Darius the housekeeper, who walked with a limp and had the look of a man carrying invisible chains. Mitchell the driver, who never blinked long enough for Jamal to trust him. They were polite, but not human. At least not in the way people are supposed to be. Vivian, true to her word, kept her distance. She spent most of her days in the east wing of the house, behind a door that never opened. Each night, Jamal would hear jazz music floating from that side of the manor. The same song. Always the same song. It started to feel like the house itself had a heartbeat. By day 4, the silence became pressure. Jamal didn't feel peace, he felt watched. Sometimes it was in the hallway, just a flicker of movement behind him. Sometimes it was footsteps outside his door at 2 a.m., slow, deliberate, but no one was there when he opened it. Only the faint scent of cigar smoke. No one in the house smoked. By day 6, the pressure turned into obsession. The velvet room. He had to know what was inside. That night, barefoot heart pounding, Jamal crept down the hallway. The portraits of ancestors stared at him like they knew what he was doing. The velvet room door was deep red, ornate, carved with swirling symbols that didn't feel decorative, they felt like warnings. It wasn't locked. Inside, dim lighting from red-tinted bulbs, thick velvet curtains on all walls, and in the center, an altar. Yes, an actual altar. Laid across it were photographs of him. Jamal stepped closer. There he was working at the garage, sitting on his apartment steps, walking home from school. Some photos were years old. How long had she been watching him? Beside the altar was a leather-bound book. On the front, Whitmore bloodline, sealed bonds. Jamal opened it. On the second page, a sketch of a young boy. He looked just like him. Same eyes, same face, same scar above the eyebrow. Below it, Subject 27, bloodline extension candidate, acquired, monitor for traits, prepare for activation. His hands trembled, and then a voice behind him. You weren't supposed to see that. Jamal turned around. Vivian was standing in the doorway. Not calm, not smiling, just watching. Her voice was soft but firm. You've been chosen, Jamal. You don't understand what this marriage means, not yet, but you will. He stepped back. You lied to me. This wasn't about helping me. What is this place? She didn't blink. It's older than you know, and so are you. That night, Jamal sat in the far corner of his bedroom, lights on, door locked, clutching the book like a shield. No one came, no one knocked, no one screamed, and that scared him more than anything. Because now he knew he wasn't just a husband. He was part of something written in blood, and that story had already started writing him. The next morning, Jamal walked into the dining room, clutching the leather-bound book. His eyes were red, his voice silent. Vivian was already there, calmly slicing her toast like she hadn't spent the night hiding ancient secrets. She poured tea. Would you like to walk the garden today, Jamal? She asked. No, he said, placing the book on the table. I want answers. All of them. Now. She looked up, slowly. Once I tell you, she said, there's no going back. They stood by the tall windows. The trees outside were swaying harder now, like they knew something was coming. And Vivian spoke. Whitmore Manor, she said, was never just a home. It was a vessel, a vault for a bloodline that had made a pact with something old. A shadow, a presence, a thing not born of this world. The deal, power, wealth, influence for every generation. The price, one heir, one blood sacrifice, every cycle. Vivian turned to him. You are that heir, Jamal, the last pure descendant. Your father, he tried to escape it. He ran with the housemaid, changed his name, tried to erase the bloodline. But you were never lost. I watched you for years. Jamal could barely breathe. Why marry me? Vivian smiled, but it was hollow now. Because the bond only works through sacred contract, through marriage. The moment we signed those papers, you became the bridge. And on the 7th night, the pact activates. That night came faster than Jamal expected. Storm clouds rolled over the manor. Windows shook. The house felt like it was breathing, walls, groaning, lights flickering. He ran. Doors he used to walk through were suddenly locked. Corridors twisted like a maze. Mirrors warped his reflection. Voices whispered from the vents. He's not ready. He must accept. He carries the blood. In a panic, Jamal remembered the wine cellar, the one place he hadn't searched. He burst through the cellar door, descended the stairs, and found it a hidden stone archway carved into the wall, surrounded by symbols pulsing faint red. He pushed it open. What lay inside wasn't just a room. It was a chamber. Candles floated mid-air. A circle drawn in blood marked the stone floor, and in the center a throne, carved from bone, blackwood, time itself. Behind it a shape, a formless, shifting figure, not human, not entirely spirit, just watching. And it spoke. You carry the blood. You are the Whitmore. You cannot run. Vivian appeared, but she was no longer 65. Her wrinkles vanished. Her spine straightened. Her hair darkened into a rich black braid. Her voice echoed with something eternal. Thank you, Jamal, she whispered. You were my final contract. I've lived for generations, and now I will live again. Jamal's knees hit the stone floor, not in surrender, in purpose. He reached into his pocket. The book. No contract, he said. No curse. He lit a match. Flame met leather. The book burned. Vivian screamed. Not like a woman. Not like anything of this world. Her body twisted, bones cracking backward, her skin turning to ash. The room trembled. Symbols exploded in sparks. The shadow lunged, but the flames consumed everything. The pact was broken. The bloodline shattered. The throne collapsed. And the manor fell. Jamal woke up 2 days later in a hospital bed. His childhood friend Tasha sat beside him, holding his hand like it was the last tether to the real world. They found you in the ruins, she whispered. Whitmore Manor burned to the ground. He blinked. Vivian? Tasha shook her head. There's no Vivian. No marriage certificate. No records. It's like she never existed. Jamal left Baltimore. He opened a small garage in Atlanta, changed his number, fixed engines, lived simply and quietly. But sometimes when the radio crackled to life and played old jazz, or when he glanced at a mirror and thought he saw someone standing just behind him, he remembered. Because legacies don't die easily. And some curses, they don't vanish, they just wait.